minutes ago, I was discussing the fact that I was watching a vibrating vacuum cleaner at about 5 o'clock this morning in bed because, that's what happens when you have small kids. You wake up and you end up watching very strange television shows.
Did you buy it?
I did not.
Huh. You seem pretty passionate about this vacuum cleaner, but yet you didn't buy it?
When you watch what the heck was it? It was like an Oric dual core deal. Okay, this thing is like it is the most badass vacuum cleaner I've ever seen. And I have not ever shopped for vacuum cleaners, so it makes it the one vacuum cleaner.
I'm sold, by the way, but keep going.
But here's the thing I noticed about it is that if they give you this, of course, this money back guarantee, and they tell you how great it is, but it has to be good when you get it home. You can't just buy it based on the commercial, and then they ship it to you, and then it sucks, so you'll ship it right back. Well,
it's a pain to ship it back.
It is a pain to ship it back, but the same thing can be said about, when you look at like getting a mortgage or real estate, everybody kind of has this infomercial going on up front that could be a sales pitch. It could be over the phone. It could be an email, whatever it is, could be somebody's website. You get this person's infomercial.
Oh, that was an analogy.
Well, I did
actually. I got it. That was perfect. I get it now. It's all coming together.
I did actually watch this, and it inspired me to come to this conclusion that everybody has their infomercial, but the problem is that there's no accountability in the mortgage and real estate world like there is for this vacuum cleaner. Because if you're about to go buy a house and you have a lender who says they can close in 10 days at the lowest rate in the history of the world, and all of a sudden you realize they can't, but you still have to try to close your load in a week or 2 weeks, you can't ship that lender on his way and then start anew because of the time it takes the process. Where with this wonderful vacuum company, who, if they were lying through their infomercial and it really didn't suck up the dirt like it says it did and did not. Okay, so this thing is like a Sonicare, right? Like the Sonicare things, and I think like there's like the Clairsonic, Sonic. What do they call it when it moves real fast?
Are we still talking about this?
Yeah, I'm just explaining what it is.
I'm getting it.
Okay, so anyway, so it like brings the dirt up. So it's like it looks awesome on TV, right? Either side-by-side comparisons, greatest vacuum ever, okay? Mm-hmm. People are thrilled. And there's even like a guy from a college who was, a germ expert, and he's studying the germs. But if you get home and the vacuum sucks, they allow you...
Is the vacuum cleaner, is it a green vacuum, though?
It was purple.
No, green. Is it an energy efficient vacuum? That was really should be the question.
I did not catch that part. But it can save you a lot of money because now you don't... Okay, so my point is simply that if you are going down the path of buying something based on an advertisement... and it's a product, typically you can send it back if it doesn't work or you don't like it. Mm-hmm. But if you start going down the path with a professional, it's a lot harder to fire them or just send it back. You're kind of like involved with them. You kind of have a relationship that's much tougher to break off than calling UPS man, shipping it back, and they pay the shipping.
Mm-hmm. And I deal with it every single day on the mortgage side, and that's probably the biggest challenge we're facing today, and especially in an environment where interest rates are really kind of bouncing around a lot more over the last month or so than they have probably in the last couple of years, where you have these times are really low. They go up, we're having swings of 1/4 to 3/8 in rate within a couple days, so we're kind of get this up and down period. So because it's a commodity-based business, in theory, that when new buyers are out there on the market and they're trying to figure out who's the best professional to help them with on the mortgage side, their natural reaction, like you always talk about as well, is try to go for that commodity. Like, what is your rate and what are your fees?
Sure.
But it's the most inefficient way to do it during the pre-approval process because, like you said in your monologue, there's nothing that holds the lender to anything they're quoting. There's zero. There is absolutely zero. And so I had this exact conversation with a client yesterday. I said, I'm really in a tough position right now, so I just have to continue to stay with the way that I've always approached business and just tell the story. Like, I could tell you the lowest rate possible, and you could think I'm amazing, and you could totally commit to me, and we can work together for the next couple months until you find a house. But the reality is I can quote you anything today. The safer and the more efficient way to do it is for me to actually quote you a little bit higher than the market, so that way you're not surprised in 30 to 60 days when you find a home and rates are higher and you're stuck on this rate at this payment. Mm-hmm. And so, but you can't get business that way all the time because somebody's going to naturally go back to rate, which is the problem with industry.
Well, and sometimes the infomercial is your pitch. Is that first phone call, hey, what is your rate? That's 99% of people call. Nobody's like, so tell me about your service level. Right? Everybody's, what's your rate? So that is the infomercial that people want to see, but the problem is the infomercial doesn't have to be truthful.
It doesn't, and I think...
Back to infomercials.
Well, the reality is we should talk about, for the infomercial in the mortgage world and real estate world today, I think we really need to get clear, and we've talked about multiple times on the show, be exactly clear what the deciding factor needs to be for buyers in this market when they choose a lender and, quite frankly, when they choose a real estate agent partner as well. Okay? We take a couple minutes and go over that again.
We can delve off.
Perfect.
We can delve off of amazing purple vacuum cleaners if you'd like. I mean,
how about we shelve the vacuum when we come back to the vacuum?
Okay.
We can talk about my habit for buying everything golf related from infomercials, which I did 2 days ago.
I know, you showed me the infomercial.
I was so excited I actually showed you.
You did. You
the
said
website of the infomercial. It's true.
But think about that. But so somebody goes and they're like, "Wow, look at this amazing golf piece." But there's probably people who are out there like, "Oh my God, look, I got this cute, amazingly low interest rate."
Absolutely.
I mean, it is cocktail talk.
Absolutely. And maybe in a minute we can get Megan back on too to kind of talk about it from a real estate agent perspective, but from a lender perspective who has to deal with buyers every single day.
And Megan has a Roomba.
Yes. It is the most competitive real estate market. I've been in the business for 15 years, and we've had our highs and lows, everything else. I've never seen it like this ever, okay? Ever. We had a buyer that I was on the phone with the other day that was making an offer on a property for $690, $3,000 in escalation clauses, up to $730. I went out of my way to call the listing agent and say, "Hey, just want to let you know an offer's coming. You received an offer from so-and-so agent. So I want to let you know I've met with these clients. They're great people. They're fully approved." Doing the whole dog and pony show I do every time to make the seller and the listing agent feel comfortable. She literally stopped me halfway through and laughed at me and said, "Yeah, I totally appreciate your call, but they aren't even close."
That was $40,000 over asking price.
She goes, "They aren't even close. I appreciate the call, but they're not even close." My point is, you have to be organized as a buyer. You have to be prepared as a buyer. You have to work with local and reputable lenders who are going to massage your deal through the process and not only help you get it under contract by making that call and building that relationship with everybody involved in the transaction, but has the ability to close on time. There's nothing worse in a competitive market after you've been missed 9 or 10 homes because you've been outbid, is to finally find one and get one under contract, and it doesn't close because of the lender. And there's such an integral part of the transaction. You have to pick the lender that is, quite frankly, the most you can screen it, the most honest and the most straightforward, and almost tells you what you don't want to hear to prove that they really are legit and have your best interests at heart. Because any lender could say, "Yeah, here's the rate and we'll close in 10 days. And the reality is it's very tough to impossible to do that these days.
Ryan Leopold joins us with Cobalt Mortgage. Ryan, so when somebody calls, I mean, let's just take this even a step back. Most people call and they say, "What is your interest rate?" It's programmed in. It's what people talk about. What should the first question be?
First question should be, what is your process? Either A, I've bought a home before, or I've never bought a home. I don't know. Tell me what the process is to go through the pre-approval system or process, and why should I pick you over the hundreds of other agents that are out there and have that same interview with multiple lenders and ask and decide for yourself what their answers are, okay? If they come in and say, "I'm going to offer you the lowest rate and I'm going to do this," and promise things they can't deliver on because that day you can't know what your lowest rate is going to be at the time, okay? Ask what their process is, okay? Ask experiences they've had with other buyers in the last 30 to 90 days in this unique market. Okay. Ask if they're open for face-to-face meetings, that kind of stuff. And you'll gauge on your own if you think this is a professional who has your best interest at heart and who will give you honest and straightforward answers to the legit questions you ask.
Well, and you're about to take off your financial pants for this person.
Absolutely.
I mean, they are going to take everything from you and every piece of paper you have ever had for your finances. You might want to make sure it's somebody that you trust and have a relationship with.
And if they don't make that point clear from the first conversation, you should be nervous. If they say, oh, yeah, it's not that big a deal, it's going to be fine, we can close in 10 days. Oh, yeah, your interest rate is like 3% with no points on a 30-year fix. All those things should be actually red flags, not positive attributes. A lender should come out and say, look, it is tough. We are going to need everything that you just mentioned, Ben, and then under the sun. And quite frankly, it doesn't make sense, and sometimes there's no logic to it, but we all have, we want, for the sake of the transaction, the sake of you getting your dream home, we all got to step up, suck it up for these 30 days, and just work together to get it done, and work together as a team with your real estate agent, lender, and the buyers to get that dream home and actually not only get it under contract, but get it closed.
And of course, at the end of the day, I mean, it's not like lenders have huge variations in their interest rates. So talking to somebody who takes you through the right process does not mean you're going to pay more at the end of the day. It simply means that you're going to get probably the same deal at the end of the day, and you're just not going to have all the hoops to jump through, and the stress that comes up.